Hi everyone, so welcome to one more fantastic 5 MCQ discussion. So let us start with the first MCQ. The first MCQ is basiliximab is a option A interleukin 1 agonist, option B interleukin 2 receptor antagonist, interleukin 6 antagonist, interleukin 11 agonist. So take your time and try to answer this. So if you're telling option B, then you are right. Basiliximab is an interleukin 2 receptor antagonist. It is also called as CD25 antagonist. So there are two drugs which are interleukin 2 or CD25 antagonist, basiliximab and a drug called daclizumab. Now these are monoclonal antibodies and they are mainly used as immunosuppressant drug. They are mainly used as immunosuppressant drugs. And where do you suppress the immunity? In particular, they are used during organ transplant. So when we are transplanting an organ, we have to suppress the immunity, then we use them. Is there any interleukin 1 agonist? There is nothing like interleukin 1 agonist. We have interleukin 1 antagonist and the name of the drug is anakinra. Anakinra, it is mainly used to manage rheumatoid arthritis. You see the name. It is an antagonist, kin, interleukin. Which one? Interleukin 1. Remember alphabet A, interleukin 1. And RA, it is used for rheumatoid arthritis. So that is anakinra. So we have interleukin 2 receptor antagonist and I told you daclizumab and basiliximab. Is there any interleukin 2 agonist? Yes, we have something called aldesleukin. Usually interleukins end with kins, leukins, and it is used to treat melanoma, a cancer, and also it is used to manage renal cell cancer. It is the interleukin 2 agonist. So please read the question carefully whether they are asking agonist or antagonist. Interleukin 6 antagonist, we have two drugs, sarilumab, and one more mab starts with T. So you have to tell me the name of that app. Then we have interleukin 11. We don't have an agonist, we have interleukin 11 analog. And the name of that is called oprelvakin. So it is also interleukin, that's why it ends with kin. And where do we use it? It is used to manage thrombocytopenia. Thrombocytopenia due to what? Due to anti-cancer therapy, we use it. So very important high yielding points here. So we have discussed interleukin 2 antagonist and agonist here. Interleukin 1 antagonist anakinra, 6 antagonist sarilumab, and one more you have to find out. Interleukin 11 analog is oprelvakin, used to manage thrombocytopenia due to anti-cancer drugs. And also we'll discuss some immunosuppressant drugs quickly. What are the calcineurin inhibitors used as immunosuppressant? The names are cyclosporin and tacrolimus. And then what are the anti-cancer drugs used as immunosuppressant? Cyclophosphamide, and one more drug, azathioprine. mTOR inhibitor, sirolimus. Usually they end with limus, they are used in stents. Dihydrofolate reductase, the drug is called methotrexate. Let me repeat the name, methotrexate. Inosine monophosphate dehydrogenase inhibitor, the drug name is mycophenol mofetil. All these are used as immunosuppressant during organ transplant. IMF, mycophenol mofetil. Orotate dehydrogenase inhibitor, the name is called leflunomide. So what did we understand from this MCQ? We have covered the most important immunosuppressant and their mechanisms frequently tested in various exams. Let's move to the next question. MCQ. Neuraminidase inhibitor among the following is. Option A, oseltamivir, foscarnet, acyclovir, indinavir. Please answer. Yes, your answer is oseltamivir. Frequently asked question. Now, oseltamivir is a neuraminidase inhibitor. What is the role of neuraminidase? So once this is the infected cell, the virus keep on multiplying and they have to be let out, and then they infect one more new cell. So this exit is mediated by neuraminidase. But if I inhibit this neuraminidase, the virus will not exit and doesn't infect the new cells. So the mechanism of action of oseltamivir is neuraminidase inhibitor. Now please understand, it starts with O. So it's an oral drug and it can be used to manage influenza A, influenza B, H5N1 and H1N1. So it is one of the drug used for both prophylaxis and treatment of influenza. Then other neuraminidase inhibitor is zanamivir. And remember, it has N, so it is given by nasal route as a powder. Then peramivir starts with P, so it is given parenteral, that is IV. So moving on to other options, foscarnet. Foscarnet directly inhibits DNA polymerase and thereby stop the DNA replication. And acyclovir needs to be activated, and after that activation it inhibits DNA polymerase. And indinavir, remember, anything ending with navir, they are protease inhibitors. And what do? They inhibit virus assembly. And where are they used? Protease inhibitors. Navirs are used to manage HIV. And you all know acyclovir is the drug of choice for herpes simplex. And can you tell me the drug of choice for cytomegalovirus? What's the drug of choice? You have to comment here. Okay, so these are the things you have to keep in your mind. Moving on to the next MCQ. True about prostaglandins. Now please remember, prostaglandins will have prost in their name. Bimatoprost decreases aqueous humor production, false. Prostaglandins, what we use to manage glaucoma, they are PGF2 alpha analogs. They increase uveoscleral outflow. That is their major mechanism of action. They increase uveoscleral outflow. Safe in pregnancy? No, because prostaglandins are uterine contracting agents. They contract uterus and they may cause abortion. So don't give them in pregnant women. Latanoprost increases uveoscleral outflow. This is the true statement. That is why we use it in management of glaucoma. Corneal deposits are caused by prostaglandins, false. What is the problem with prostaglandins? PGF2 alpha analogs. When we use it in glaucoma, what is the problem? Let us see. Remember the mnemonic MIG. What is MIG for? The drug can cause macular edema, iris pigmentation. It is also called as heterochromia iridis. And G for growth of eyelash. So these three are being tested frequently, and you have to remember the adverse effect of latanoprost, bimatoprost is MIG, macular edema, iris pigmentation, and growth of eyelash. Then what drugs can cause corneal deposit? I will give two examples. Amiodarone can do that. Then an anti-malarial drug called chloroquine can do that. I'm giving most important drug tested. And tell me a drug which increases trabecular outflow, which inhibits Rho kinase and used for managing glaucoma. So even that drug is going to cause cornea verticillata, that is corneal deposits. And the name starts with N. So try to guess the drug new drug for glaucoma, which increases trabecular flow, inhibit Rho kinase and used for glaucoma, and it can cause corneal deposits. So with that MCQs, I told you what are the points you have to keep in your mind. Okay, yes. So sometimes we'll take up some case-based MCQs here. A 38-year-old male has recently started monotherapy for mild hypertension. So he was given an antihypertensive for his BP. At his most recent clinic visit, he complains of tiredness, not being able to complete 3 sets of tennis, and has sexual dysfunction. Which one of the following drug is the most likely to be taken for hypertension? So the question is, which drug can cause fatigue and sexual dysfunction? Now coming to prazosin, it can cause postural hypertension. And also it can interfere with sexual problem. It inhibits ejaculation. So maybe this is the drug. Let me see. Metoprolol is a beta blocker. Even beta blockers, they can cause tiredness, and they can also produce sexual dysfunction. So patient may develop tiredness, easy fatigability, sexual dysfunction. Anything ending with pril, we know these are ACE inhibitors. Now ACE inhibitor main issue is they increase potassium. They can also decrease the BP. They are teratogenic, so not given in pregnant women. To important adverse effect, they can produce dry cough, and a rare complication but serious one, angioedema. Now you have to tell me in the comment section because of what there is dry cough and angioedema. Tell me the reason for this. So ACE inhibitor are going to do this problem. Okay. Now dipin, anything ending with dipin or dihydropyridines, they are CCBs. So they are vasodilators, so they decrease BP. So when they decrease BP, there is increase in heart rate, tachycardia. The important adverse effect are they can cause gum hyperplasia. The gums may become big in size, gum hyperplasia, and also they can produce constipation and flushing due to vasodilation. So most importantly tested one is gum hyperplasia. So I have told you the adverse effect of all these drugs. So patient is having tiredness and sexual dysfunction. So obviously the drug will be option B, metoprolol. If you're telling metoprolol, then you are right. You may ask a question, why not prazosin? Prazosin is going to cause postural hypertension. The case would have been if a patient suddenly gets up, he is getting dizziness or like that. So that is not the answer. And we have ruled out other options by giving the adverse effect of these drugs. So with one MCQ, we have learned so many points from here. Okay. Now, they can also ask you which antihypertensives can cause sexual dysfunction. So if they cause sexual dysfunction, so you should not give it in sexually active males. So remember, don't give clonidine, don't give thiazides, don't give beta blockers, and don't give prazosin, because these antihypertensives may interfere with sexual function. Right. Coming to the last MCQ. Tolvaptan is used in the treatment of. So tolvaptan is mainly used to manage SIADH, syndrome of inappropriate antidiuretic hormone. What is anything ending with vaptan? These are vasopressin receptor antagonist. Anything ending with vaptan. Tolvaptan, it's a V2 receptor antagonist used to manage SADH, and also it is used to manage hyponatremia. hyponatremia due to SAADH, or due to chronic CHF, or due to cirrhosis of liver. Tolvaptan is also used for autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease. Why they use it here? It has shown to reduce the cyst size. So the answer is tolvaptan is used to manage SIADH. Now, since we have some time, so I will also discuss diabetes insipidus. Two types, central and peripheral. Central, the drug of choice is desmopressin, and peripheral, the drug of choice is thiazides. So my question to you all, what is the drug of choice for lithium induced diabetes insipidus? So try to answer this in the comment section. Right, so with that, we're done with fantastic 5 MCQs. Hope you enjoy the session. Any doubt, you can ask me in the Telegram group, or you can follow me in the Instagram, and you will get the answers in the comment section. So thank you all.